Hello and welcome to our Walt Disney internal and external analysis of the Walt Disney Corporation. Today presenting will be Alec, Braden, Charlie, Leanne, and me, Zach. We'll go over the agenda. As you can see, we'll start with a company overview of Disney, a SWOT analysis, a five forces model, and then a pastel analysis, a financial analysis, and suggestions. So Disney has primarily been focused on providing entertainment since its original conception. The ability to create magical experiences in person and digitally is what they are known for. Most adults today has had their childhood directly impacted by Disney in some way. Disney's constant growth model has largely been fueled by the acquisition of new business. Constant diversification and attempting to reach the target market has been a primary growth generator. Disney is made up of four different SBUs, strategic business units, that control the direction of the company. These four units are consumer products, studio entertainment, parks and resorts, and media network broadcasting. With its vast diversification portfolio, it is hard to keep track of Disney's competitors in their many different markets.
For Disney's SWOT analysis, their strengths include Disney has been a very recognized and successful brand, especially for kids over the decades, when it comes to magical experiences, movies, wholesome family entertainment, and iconic merchandise like collectible items and toys. They are also still ranked as one of the biggest companies in the world in terms of market capitalization. This company takes tremendous pride in maintaining and providing fun, positive, safe, and inclusive experiences for their audiences, whether they are kids or adults. The company also stresses the value of diversity in its content, as well as advocating a healthy living style from their nutrition guideline policy. Disney took a significant hit following the start of the pandemic, but despite this, they bounced back strongly with their mobile streaming platform, Disney Plus, and were able to generate over 100 million paid subscriptions toward the end of 2020, which led to an increase in revenue. And those subscriptions are on a monthly basis. They have some of the most creative teams that consist of graphic designers, story script writers, and artists, and the teams are very qualified with many years of experience in the mass media industry. Moving on to the weaknesses. Once the COVID 19 pandemic hit, the company had to close down their theaters, resorts, theme parks, and the suspension of cruise ship sailing. Including all of them together, Disney lost revenue amounting to around $9.3 billion. The company also had to let go of 20,000 of its theme park employees due to the pandemic. Disney lacks in promotion and marketing efforts, which can lead them vulnerable to their competitors. The only time when they promote ads is when they are introducing another toy or movie, and apart from that, most of their marketing is through cross promotion. Poor financial planning due to poor investments in the past with companies like Hulu and Bomb Tech that equivalated losses of over $1 billion. Moving on to the opportunities. Once Disney announced that the company would shift its focus on the streaming aspect of its business, such as Disney Plus, has been a useful factor that has helped its stock price recover. They can possibly stir up new prospects and make up for opportunities that they might have missed if they decide to make a change in investing and marketing. Since they have such a good quality expertise in the mass media industry, then Disney should use their skill set that can assist in innovating technologies and other relative aspects. Disney is the number one company for a lot of children and adults who grew up during the Walt Disney era, so Disney alone is a perfect branding source and very beneficial for any business who would partner up with the Walt Disney Company. Moving on to their threats. They have a lot of competitors to compete against when it comes to video streaming businesses such as Amazon Prime Video, CBS All Access, and Showtime, HBO Now, and Netflix. Together, they all have around 176.6 million subscribers as of last year. The changes in consumer trends for media consumption are always fluctuating, and new regulations and laws regarding data protection, privacy, licensing, safety, and distribution always need to be considered because they have a potential to limit expansion into new markets and decrease company profits.
Next, we will analyze Disney using the five forces model. First is their competitive rivalry, which is low. Walt Disney has a few main competitors like CBS, Comcast, who owns Universal Studios, and Merlin Entertainment, who owns Legoland. None of these companies, however, participate in nearly as many industries as Disney does. Furthermore, going through Disney is the only way for our customers to get the Disney experience. Competitors cannot offer the same exact characters, products, or experience as Disney can because they do not own the rights to those things. A huge competitive advantage Disney has on its competitors is their extremely high quality and uniqueness of Disney experiences and products. Next is their supplier power, which is moderate. Disney suppliers have moderate power because Disney often needs supplies from multiple suppliers for one project, like a movie. One uncooperative supplier could throw off a massive project or plan, so Disney could be forced to cooperate. Then, Disney's buyer power is moderate. Avid Disney lovers will always flock to new Disney products and experiences. However, there are so many Disney customers worldwide that if they join together, Disney would be compelled to do what their audience wants. On the other hand, they want to cater to their customers' wants and needs, so buyers have some control. Disney must deliver media and experiences the way customers want it to consume it, or they won't consume it. The threat of substitution for Disney is low. Disney World, its characters, and consumer products do not have a high chance of being substituted. Consumers want Disney characters and products because of the experience and nostalgia associated with the Walt Disney name. Disney protects its unique assets so consumers can only get it from them. They have over 2,225 active patents and over 6,000 trademarks. Lastly, the threat of new entrants is also low. The likelihood of a new company entering into the numerous markets Disney is in and taking up a large part of the market is low. Disney has time, experience, and a great reputation built compared to the new entrants. Disney is also diversified in many different industries and has acquired numerous companies like Fox, Marvel, Star Wars, and more. However, if an existing company were to expand into a market Disney is also in, the threat is higher. An established competitor like Comcast, who owns Universal Studios, would have the reputation and resources to take over part of the new market.
So for the pestle analysis, I chose to analyze their political, including all of their acquisitions, including ABC, ESPN, Miramax, Anaheim Angels, Disneyland Paris, Disneyland MGM Studios in Orlando, Disneyland California, France, Hong Kong, and they have others in Shanghai and Tokyo. They have interactive games and retail stores, and including all of these mediums to provide information and data to their viewers. It's quite evident that they have to be on top of everything that they say, on top of anything that is said on their broadcasting networks and channels, because if they slip up just a little bit, they can be charged for lawsuits and litigations just for saying things that are incorrect or inappropriate or falsified information. So having coverage of all these stations is actually a lot of political issues involved because the people that watch their shows will not want to be dissatisfied from their content, so Disney always has to be on top of everything that they say. Further economic, Disneyland had increasing revenues up until 2016, where 2017 it was lower by 500 million. However, they still recorded in $55.1 billion for the 2017 year. And the difference here is that from 2016 to 2017, Disney's total assets increased by $3 billion. So even though they had lower revenues, they still increased their amount of total assets and what they own by $3 billion. So maybe it was just a year that they spent more money to acquire stuff and it just didn't pay it back quite as fast, which, you know, for Disney, it's not really a problem because they have so much coverage over everything. It's not going to affect them by $500 million. For their social, they have a targeted audience when they started in 1919 to target the youth and kids that like animated shows such as Mickey Mouse and all of the other main characters of Disney. However, since they have so many acquisitions and so many different platforms, they kind of broaden their audience to all ages, and anybody that watches a Disney show, they might not even know it's a Disney show nowadays, where they offer a lot of movies such as the Star Wars series and Marvel films. They have theme parks, resorts, cruise lines. They have radio stations. They have a lot of things, and they don't really want to lower their audience. They want to expand to everywhere, and Disney actually did a really good job with this because they expanded to different horizons to make sure their target audience can be as diversified as possible. Technological, including all the other stations, broadcasting networks, radios, resorts, and other pieces that attribute to Disney's total franchise. They actually have one of the best visual effects networks in the world. They do movies for Star Wars. They own Star Wars and Marvel, and those, as many people know, have very, very good visual effects. And including the radio station, they have a large network of different kind of platforms that use a lot of these visual effects and a lot of technology that a lot of other corporations do not actually have. And that's why Disney is still one of the top corporations in the world, just because they have access to not only a large audience, but also some of the best technology to adhere to them as well. Environmental, there's a giant list of different resorts and theme parks and cruise lines that Disney owns. Regarding all of these, they also have retail stores and movie theaters and other facilities to host all of their features and services that they offer to their consumers. When we analyze this, it's really actually tremendous how much environmental impact they have. Every resort is going to use a ton of energy to host it all the way through the year, as well as their cruise lines and theme parks and studios to make movies and all the places in Hollywood, all the retail stores, all the products they supply everywhere in the entire world. Disney has a gigantic environmental impact. It's not quite evident how large it is in the case study, but regarding all of these places, just here in this little bit of information, and this isn't even updated to the most recent year, they have a lot of coverage on the earth and a lot of energy and material expenditure. They certainly do use a lot of energy that would impact the earth, and if it was more said clearly in the case study, I would have analyzed it deeper, but this is what they have as of what they offered in the case study. And then finally, the legal. Disney has a lot of coverage, so they have a lot of characters, a lot of things that they don't want to be reused without proper permission. Obviously, if you use Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, the main, Walt Disney characters, you're not going to get away with it without any, cease and desist or, lawsuits, even in that extent. And while they have all these characters in TV shows and radio stations and resorts and whatnot, it's a lot that they have to manage, and they're averaging $55 billion a year in revenue. They're definitely going to be getting a lot of grounds to where they have to file lawsuits because people are using their content, or especially with people that want to put lawsuits against Disney. They have so many resorts and so many different places that they have to be in charge of, as well as TV stations and everything that is included in Disney. It's certain that they get a few, at least several lawsuits per year or per month. And that's just something that they have to deal with on a daily basis. They can't possibly expect to have such a large, widespread, diversified community without getting a little bit of heat in return for everything that they do own. And that's why Disney has to do a lot of measures just to make sure that they're being safe and they're being correct with everything that they say, do, sell, and handle on an everyday basis.
This is Braden doing a financial analysis for Disney. Looking at the financials of Disney, as you can tell, they're a very big and successful company. worth tens of billions of dollars. As you can see in the 5-year time frame we have between 2013 and 2017, revenues, net income, price per common share, total assets, long-term obligations, and most of the cash flow activities are all seeing increases across this 5-year period. Two discrepancies to note would be the shareholders' equity decreasing over this time frame, and that is due to dividends increasing. And then the investing activities underneath the cash flow section were rather steady throughout this 5-year period, looking at about $4 billion when it began, $4 billion when it ended between 2013 and 2017, and a little bit of wiggle room between $3 and $5 billion along the way. It is worth noting that between 2016 and 2017, Disney did see a slight decrease in revenues, net income, total assets, and majority of the cash flow activities also saw a decrease. However, as we look towards the 2018-2019 pre-COVID financials, it is worth to note that they did recover and still grew after that slight decline. Speaking of COVID-19, the revenues, net income, and stock price of the company decreased significantly. Many of the in-person experiences were affected the most. Obviously, the parks and the resorts were shut down completely. Many of the studio entertainment business ventures had to be put on hold or done alternatively. However, the company is rebounding. The stock price is higher than it's ever been pre-COVID and post-COVID. So this is definitely a good look for the company. One thing to note is the strategic unit business breakdown. About 43% of the company's financials apply to the media network business unit. About 33% goes towards the parks and resorts, 15% towards studio and entertainment, and 9% towards consumer products and interactive media. And to wrap it up, we do have a few suggestions for the Disney Corporation. First, we believe that they should integrate more innovative products into their services and offerings that they already have, such as virtual reality and other innovative technologies. Secondly, we believe that integrating their marketing techniques into the different business units would be a great tool, especially for the techniques that they've been using for Disney+. Thirdly, we believe that the importance of diversity is crucial when it comes to the content that they put out. And by that, we mean we think it's important that a company this big with this much influence should be advocating for healthy moral living. Fourthly, we believe that the competition is strong, especially in the media area. And so Disney is going to need to make some more strategic moves to really set themselves apart from the competitors that are in the media space. And finally, we believe that focusing on Disney Plus is a very, very good idea. Obviously, with COVID, everyone being inside, having to stay home, having a streaming platform like Disney Plus was a big hit and will continue to grow over the time as we go beyond this pandemic life we're in today. Thank you guys, and we hope you appreciated this presentation, and we look forward to hearing your questions.